Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving into something fascinating, the huge variety of ways people learn English around the world. We've got this great article here, packed with stories from learners everywhere, all on their own path to, well, figuring out English.
Exactly. And this isn't about those quick fix promises,
Yeah.
We're looking at the real journeys, the motivations, the struggles, the breakthroughs from people just like you. The idea is to pull out insights, maybe some surprising things that can genuinely help you feel more informed and hopefully inspired in your own learning.
Yeah, our source is this really detailed article, just full of personal stories, actual practical tips that worked for these people, and some kind of bigger picture ideas about what leads to success. Think of it as getting the inside scoop on what really works and what getting good at English actually looks like day to day. So what's the mission here for you, the listener?
Well, our mission is to really get under the skin of why people learn English in the first place, what roadblocks they typically hit, the strategies that seem to actually move the needle, and maybe unpack what fluency even means in real life. We want to give you some valuable perspectives and, importantly, some concrete things you can actually use on your own English journey.
Okay, so let's get into it. The article kicks off by looking at the power of why, how crucial motivation really is, and it shows just how incredibly different people's reasons are.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer range is striking. It just reminds you that learning a language isn't one size fits all. It's deeply personal. Like, take Kenji from Japan. His big driver was academic ambition, right? Getting into MIT for robotics. That's a very clear external goal, high stakes.
Right. And the article notes his background was heavy on grammar, reading the typical stuff. But he quickly realized, for MIT, he needed actual communication skills. Like, knowing the ingredients isn't enough. You got to be able to cook.
Precisely. Then there's Fatima in Egypt. For her, it was all about career growth in hospitality. She felt kind of stuck, saw English as the key to leadership roles, dealing with international guests, professional ambition driving her forward.
That's so common, isn't it? Wanting to advance your career and seeing language as the way. Okay, who else?
Well, then you have Isabella from Brazil. Her why started with a love for British rock, literature, then later connecting with her Canadian partner. That's pure intrinsic motivation, passion, relationships.
Yeah, and that's interesting. The article sort of hints that those intrinsic motivations, like Isabella's, can be really sustainable. Kenji's external goal is powerful, sure, but maybe needs that constant validation from hitting targets. We're thinking about what drives you most, right?
Definitely. Isabella's story really shows how leaning into your interest makes it feel less like work, more sustainable, like you said.
Yeah.
Then there's Rajesh in India. He moved to Australia, wanted to connect with his grandkids. That's social, practical motivation, wanting to belong. And amazingly, he started at 65. Really shows it's never too late.
Wow, 65. That's inspiring. Okay, and one more.
Anya from Poland. Her motivation was travel, exploration. She saw English as the tool for richer experiences, more freedom on the road, experiential, you could call it.
So the big takeaway here seems to be that any reason is valid, as long as it's meaningful to you.
Exactly. There's no better reason. What matters is finding that thing that resonates deeply enough to pull you through the tough spots.
And the first concrete tip the article pulls out is define your why clearly. Like, actually write it down. Look at it when things get hard.
That's such a crucial first step. Having that tangible reminder of why you started makes navigating those inevitable plateaus, those moments of, ugh, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So much easier. It's your anchor.
Okay, so the why is fundamental. Now let's look at the journey itself. The article uses these individual stories to show the different paths people take, the specific hurdles, the breakthroughs. Let's start back with Kenji, aiming for MIT.
Right, Kenji. His big challenge, and super common, was that gap between knowing English rules, passive knowledge, and actually using it confidently, especially in academic settings.
Yeah, and what did he do? He basically created his own immersion bubble, changed his phone to English, listened to podcasts, even MIT OpenCourseWare lectures online. Pretty proactive.
Very. He knew just absorbing wasn't enough. He also did targeted practice summarizing research papers out loud, joining online debates to sharpen his arguments in English. And crucially, he wasn't afraid to get feedback. Found an online tutor who specialized in academic English.
That's smart, seeking out constructive criticism. So his challenges were things like understanding fast speech, formal writing, and just, shyness. But his breakthrough.
It came during a mock Q&A session, like a practice defense. He suddenly felt he could think and respond fluidly, spontaneously in English.
Ah, that feeling of flow. That's huge for learners. So Kenji's journey gives us 2 tips, right? Tip #2, tailor learning to your goal.
It's exactly. Make it relevant. And tip hashtag 3, embrace active recall and production. Don't just read or listen, summarize, debate, produce the language. That active recall forces your brain to retrieve the information, which strengthens the memory way more than just passively reviewing.
Makes sense. Okay, next up, Fatima in Egypt, aiming for that professional polish. Her challenge was needing both confidence and industry-specific language for hospitality.
And her methods were really practical, rooted in her workplace. She watched fluent colleagues, noted phrases they used. She did role-playing with a friend, simulating guest interactions. She also found business English courses online, read industry news in English, and importantly, she grabbed those low-stakes chances to chat with international guests.
That's clever practicing in the real world, but without huge pressure. Her hurdles were fear of mistakes, different accents, finding time, the usual suspects. Her breakthrough:
Successfully managing a big international conference group, really putting her skills to the test and succeeding.
Nice. So her experience leads to tip hashtag 4. Find low-stakes opportunities to practice. Every little bit helps build confidence.
Definitely. And tip hashtag 5. Learn vocabulary in chunks and context. Not just isolated words, but how they fit together, collocations, common phrases. Much more useful.
Got it. Now, Isabella in Brazil, learning fueled by passion, music, literature, her partner. Her challenge was maybe the flip side of passion sometimes lacking structure.
Yeah, that can happen. But her whole approach was about making it fun and relevant, analyzing song lyrics, reading books side by side in Portuguese and English, watching British TV. She used language exchange apps like Tandem and HelloTalk, and really focused on just communicating effectively with her partner, prioritizing connection over perfect grammar.
Such a good reminder that learning doesn't have to be a drag. Challenges for her were consistency, understanding slang, speaking on the fly, and her breakthrough sounds quite personal.
It was. Being able to express complex feelings during a disagreement with her partner, using English naturally for that deep connection.
Wow, that really is fluency in action. So her tips are tip hashtag 6. Make it fun and relevant, connect it to your passions.
Absolutely. And tip, hashtag 7. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. Don't let the fear of errors hold you back. They're just part of the process.
Okay, now Rajesh, learning later in life in Australia, he had to overcome that myth that it's harder for older adults.
Right, but the article points out older learners often have advantages: patience, established learning habits, life experience. Rajesh used structured community classes, consciously integrated English into his daily life. He even used his engineering background to understand grammar logically. But the most touching method was connecting with his grandkids, reading storybooks, playing games in English.
That's lovely and effective. His challenges were memory for vocab, the Aussie accent, feeling self-conscious initially, his breakthrough.
A really moving moment, being able to comfort his granddaughter in English when she was upset, using the language for care.
Oh, that's wonderful. So Rajesh's advice is tip hashtag 8. Be patient and persistent, especially later in life. Just keep at it.
Yes, and tip hashtag 9. Use your life experience. Connect new language concepts to what you already know. Makes it stick better.
Makes total sense. Finally, Anya from Poland. Understood English well, but terrified of speaking.
Anya's strategy was all about baby steps. Started anonymously in online forums, writing practice, low pressure, then moved to structured speaking practice, speech recognition apps, shadowing native speakers. Shadowing is where you listen and mimic almost simultaneously, great for pronunciation and flow. She joined low-pressure speaking groups, set tiny speaking goals when traveling, like ordering coffee.
That step-by-step approach seems key for tackling speaking anxiety. Her challenges were that mental block, blushing, stammering, perfectionism. Her breakthrough:
finding herself chatting for hours with other travelers in Nepal, just focused on connecting, not on grammar perfection.
Fantastic. So Anya gives us tip hashtag 10, start small and build momentum. Don't try to run before you can walk, especially with speaking.
Exactly. And tip hashtag 11, practice shadowing for pronunciation and flow. A really practical technique.
Okay, so these stories give us so much. Now, the article pulls it all together into a kind of toolkit of strategies, grouping them nicely. First up, mindset and motivation.
Yeah, this revisits the core ideas. Tip hashtag 1, know your why. Tip hashtag 8, be patient. Tip hashtag 7, embrace mistakes. It adds tip hashtag 12, set realistic goals, don't aim for the moon overnight. And tip hashtag 13, celebrate small wins, acknowledge your progress. And tip hashtag 14, cultivate a growth mindset, that belief you can improve with effort, that ability isn't fixed. That's huge when you hit a wall. It means seeing challenges as opportunities to learn, not signs you're bad at languages.
Right, that mindset shift is key. Next category, immersion and input. Building on Kenji's English bubble idea. So tip #15, create an English bubble. Tip #16, read widely, maybe starting with things like VOA or BBC Learning English. Tip #17, listen. Actively really focus on understanding. And revisiting tip #2, tailor your input to your goals.
Exactly. Then comes active practice and output, putting it all into action. This brings back tip #3, active recall. Adds tip #18, speak from day one even to yourself. Tip #19, find language exchange partners mentioning apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, italki. Revisiting tip #4, low stakes practice. Adding tip #20, write regularly. Tip #21, get feedback maybe using tools like Grammarly. And recalling Anya's tip #10, start small with speaking.
Loads of practical stuff there. Then, vocabulary and grammar strategies. This includes Fatima's tip #5, learn in chunks and context, and adds tip #22. Use spaced repetition systems, SRS, like Anki or Memrise, great for vocab. Tip #23, focus on high-frequency words first. Tip #24, don't obsess over grammar. Initially focus on communication first, but tip #25, understand grammar for clarity as you progress. It's about balance.
Precisely. Next, pronunciation and listening. Revisiting Anya's tip #11, shadowing. Adding tip #26, record yourself speaking helps you hear what others hear. Tip #27, learn IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, maybe just the basics. It really helps decode pronunciation guides and dictionaries. Tip #28, focus on listening strategies like listening for the gist or specific info. And tip #29, pay attention to stress and intonation, the music of English, which is crucial for sounding natural and understanding meaning.
Okay, last category in the toolkit, resources and tools. This covers a lot. Tip #30, leverage technology mentioning apps like Duolingo, Babbel, Busuu for structured learning, Anki Memrise for vocab, dictionaries like Word Reference or Cambridge, tools like Youglish for pronunciation and context, and tutoring platforms like italki, Preply, Cambly.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Tip #31, utilize free online resources like those BBC VOA sites, YouTube channels. It mentions English with Lucy, Papa Teach Me, Rachel's English, learner podcasts.
Re-emphasizing Isabella's tip #6, make it fun and relevant with materials you enjoy. And finally, tip #32. Consider structured courses or tutors, especially if you need accountability or have specific goals.
Ew. That's a pretty comprehensive toolkit, pulling together all the wisdom from those different journeys.
It really is. Now, the article also tackles those common roadblocks everyone seems to hit. First one, the dreaded plateau, feeling stuck.
Yeah, the advice is practical. Shake up your routine, try something new, increase the difficulty, focus on a weak skill, and importantly, revisit your why to get remotivated.
Makes sense. Then there's the fear of speaking, like Anya faced. What's the advice there?
It echoes Anya's story. Start small, tip #10. Find low-stakes situations, tip #4. Focus on communication, not perfection. Maybe even simple things like deep breathing to calm nerves.
Good tips. What about lack of time? That's huge for many people.
Integrate it. Listen to podcasts on your commute, use flashcard apps during breaks, change your phone language. Short, focused sessions are often better than long, infrequent ones anyway.
Right. And difficulty understanding native speakers, fast speech, slang, accents.
Listen to lots of different accents.
Yeah.
Use subtitles smartly, maybe watch once with, once without. Slow down audio if you can. Don't be afraid to ask people to repeat themselves. Focus on the main idea, not every word. And shadowing, tip #11, help tune your ear too.
Okay, and the last common hurdle, forgetting vocabulary. So frustrating.
Yeah, the solutions circle back to good habits. Use SRS, tip #22, learn words in context, tip #5. Actively use new words quickly in your own speaking or writing, and review regularly. Don't just learn it once.
Okay, so we've covered motivations, journeys, strategies, hurdles. Now, a big question the article tackles. What does fluent even mean? It's not just sounding like a native speaker, right?
Not at all. The article pushes back against that idea of perfection. It focuses instead on things like communicative competence. Can you actually get your message across and understand others effectively? That's key.
Okay, so communicative competence. What else?
Spontaneity, being able to speak without constantly translating in your head, having a certain flow. Also, comfort and confidence in using the language in situations relevant to you.
Right, and adaptability, being able to handle different conversations, accents, styles.
Exactly. The core message is, fluency is about connection and effective communication, not hitting some impossible standard of perfection. How does embracing communicative competence help with anxiety?
Ah, that's a great point. I guess if you shift your focus from did I make a mistake to did they understand me? or did I understand them?
Hmm.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off. It becomes about the interaction, not just your performance.
Precisely. It makes it less daunting, more about real human connection.
And the article cleverly ties this back to the individuals. Kenji's fluency is academic. Fatima's is professional. Isabella's is emotional and relational. Rajesh's is community-focused. Anya's is for travel. They're all fluent for their purposes.
Exactly right. Fluency isn't one thing. It's tailored to your life, your needs, your goals. Kenji's fluent discussing robotics. Rajesh is fluent comforting his granddaughter. Both are valid forms of fluency.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, what's the big takeaway message from all this?
I think the core message is really encouraging. Learning English is a personal journey, always ongoing. Everyone's path is unique, but successful learners tend to share some key things. Strong motivation, consistent effort, active practice, embracing mistakes, finding enjoyment, and being flexible with strategies.
And that crucial reminder, fluency isn't a finish line you cross. It's a process, always evolving, always about using the language to build connections.
Couldn't agree more. So for everyone listening, as you continue your own English journey, maybe take a moment to reflect again on your personal why, and perhaps think, what's just one small, doable step you can take today towards your goals? Remember, the global community of English speakers is massive and welcoming. Your journey adds your unique thread to that incredible tapestry. Keep weaving it.